Okay, let's build this game for the mini project flyer game. Starting on 3 and working with our sprites. They've already put in those sprites in here. I do want to change the rock and the size of that flybot, so I'm going to delete the rock and then pick something else to be the obstacle. I don't even know what I want to pick. Maybe a plane. I'm going to do like, I'm going to do this one. I'm going to name it ship. And I'm going to change the size of it. So I'm going to go in here. And resize that. I'm going to make that go this way and size it in. There we go. All right. So it says we need to create our sprites. So far we have the main player sprite. I'm going to scale that main player sprite down more because I don't like the size. I'm going to go with that 0.5 and see what that looks like. I like that much better. I might actually be able to play it for longer than 3 seconds without dying, but we'll see. That might not be true. I need to put in, let's see, the coin. And I'm going to scale that down just a little bit. And I'm just going to start that at a random X and Y to begin with. Somewhere on the screen here, I'm going to go 50, 350, 50. So there it's starting randomly on the screen, and then I need my ships that I have on there. So I'm going to have one ship, two, I'm going to name this one ship 1. Choose that ship animation. Alright, that's real big. We're going to take it down just a little bit for scale. Okay, I'm going to start that way far on the left side of the screen. Alright, and then I need a second one, and I'm going to need to rotate that one because I'm actually going to copy and paste this because I don't want to put that in. Always work smarter, not harder. Copy and paste that code and change those 1 to 2s. And this one I want to put at the top of the screen. I'm going to put it at 25 so I can see it for a second here. I need to rotate it going down because I'm going to have it come flying down the screen. So I need to rotate. Oh, they only have rotation speed in here. Does that mean I need to go make a separate one? That's a bummer. Yeah, I'm going to have to go make a separate ship. So I'm going to go into animation. I'm going to duplicate this ship, and I'm going to name it ship 2. And I'm going to go in and edit and flip that ship around, crop it back in, and here we go. So that'll be ship 2. All That's better. All right, so I've got those. The obstacles and coins were placed randomly, so we can do that too. We can do, we can place these randomly initially if you would like on the, I'm keeping the ship 1 at 0, but I'm going to do a random to start out between 25 and 3. Oops, not 25. I'm going to do 50 because that's pretty big. 50 and 350. And then I'm going to do the same thing this time on the X for this ship. I'm going to do 50 and 350. And I'm going to go with 0. So now each time they will show up randomly somewhere on the X or the Y, depending which one they are. We need the starting X velocity of the obstacles. Mine are, one is on the X and one is on the Y. So I don't know why it's saying set the X, because one is going one way and one is going the other way. So we're going to set the X velocity of ship 1, which is this one moving to the right. And I'm going to set it to maybe 3. Let's see what it looks like. That works. Maybe it needs to go faster. We'll have to mess with it when we work with it a little bit. And then I'm going to set the ship 2 velocity again to that same-ish amount. I might randomize that. That could be really fun. But there they go. There we go. That looks pretty good. All right, that's just that part. So we've got our sprites on the screen. Now we can move on to falling. So the player isn't doing anything. It needs to fall using velocity Y and the counter pattern. So the player is going to need to move I should put 0 point. Now we need to set an initial velocity for this player up here at the top, because if I go right now, I mean, it will go down, but it doesn't move super fast. So I'm going to set that player initial velocity at 0.5. And that's going to speed it up just a little bit. And now it falls. Should go faster as it goes down the screen. Yep, I like that speed too. If you want it to be a little bit harder, you can increase that amount of the velocity. I'm going to stick with like 0.3, I think. Mainly because I'm not good at this game, but you can make it as hard as you want. The next thing that we need to do then is make the player sprite jump when the user presses the up arrow. So if we look here, is player control. Change the Y velocity when the user clicks up. So that's going to be an if, and we're going to say if we're looking for key down, and that's the up arrow, we need to change their velocity to go up. So if you remember with that, we're going to change that velocity Y opposite of what it is. So right now when it's going down the screen, it's going to a positive number. When it goes up, we're going to have it go opposite. So we're going to put a bigger number in that's opposite, which is negative. So I'm going to start with just putting a -4 in here and see what happens. That actually works pretty decently. I'm pressing the up arrow and that velocity goes up. Now remember, it's going through this draw loop over and over again. So when I press that up, it's going to give that an initial jolt up, but then the velocity Y is going to kick back in and make it fall off the screen. They've coded you going off the screen already, which is nice. I would have liked to have shown you how to do that, but they're showing you how to do it here. So you'll notice it already does the game over part, and that's if the player's X location, so here, is less than -50. So it gives you a little grace to go off the screen here, or greater than 450, so that's about over here. And then if their Y is less than -50 up here, or if it is greater than 450, then it's going to change that whole background to the game over screen. Okay, so our arrow works. Now we want it to be able to float left and right, so we're going to add a conditional that decreases the sprite's X velocity when the left arrow is pressed. So we're going to look here, so decrease X velocity. So we're going to grab this right here, but we need an arrow here. If we're looking for key down left, and we're looking for X velocity, so we will make the player's X velocity decrease using a counter pattern, okay? So we're going to say player dot velocity X minus 0.2. So now there, we're floating left. Excellent. We have to do the same thing for right, because I got stuck just now and I couldn't go, and I went off the screen, and that's the end of that. When they click right, we're going to do the opposite of what we did here. So we're going to increase the velocity X. So that's saying, hey, I need you to move right now. It's a positive number. So when key down right is pressed, I'm going to do player.velocity Y equals player.velocity Y plus 0.2. So now I can go up. My right arrow isn't working for some reason. Oh, it should be velocity X. Sorry. Not enough coffee yet today. Velocity X, because we're moving left and right. All right, now it'll work. This is why we test every single time we go through a step, because you can make little mistakes like that very easily. Next, looping. We want the obstacles to move back onto the screen when they leave the screen. So if you look at the code here, did they even put that in here? Looping right here. We're looking to see, we want to know when an obstacle has left the screen. So this ship 1 goes right, and that's going to be, if it gets off the screen, you can see its X is going to be greater than, probably 450 is where we'll be looking at again. So we're going to look at this if, and we're going to, if ship 1.1x goes off of the screen, so that's greater than 450, I'm going to give it a little bit of space to go further. If you want it to wait longer between coming back, make that a bigger number. We're going to have to do two things. First of all, we need the ship to have a random Y here. So we'll say ship 1, random Y. I'm going to do between 50 and 350. You could do between 25 and 375 would likely work with the size of these sprites as well. They just might be partially off the screen. We also need to reset their X. So that X location needs to go back to off the screen. So, no, I mean to do that. Ship 1X is going to be, I don't know, like -50. I gotta try to stay alive here so we can test it. There we go. It's coming back randomly. This time it came back on the bottom of the screen. Bottom down a little bit further. But that X location will be that -50 all the time. That Y is what's going to be a little bit different. We need to do the same thing with ship 2, but it's moving on the Y. So we need another if block. And this time we're going to be checking for greater than 450, but on the Y. So ship 2, we're going to say greater than 450. And we're going to do this same stuff right here, but backwards. That ship is going to have the random on the X, because we want it randomly this way, and set on the Y. We'll do that -50, and then ship 2 will have that random here, 50 and 350. So now they both should come back. I'm going to test this quick. Just float around the screen here to not die. Perfect. They're both coming back. They're going on random locations. Everything is awesome. Now, the final thing we need to do is create some sprite interactions. If you look here, they've got some comments for you already. Reset the coin when the player touches it. Well, that's easy. We're just going to check for an is touching on that. If player is touching coin, we're going to move the coin to a new random X and Y location. And I'm going to do between 50 and 350 again. We can mess with that number a little bit to give it a little bit more wide of a range, but I don't think that that's really going to matter very much. Oops. Would help if I could actually play the game. There. Okay, that's resetting. And we need to create 2 new collisions that make 2 obstacles push the player across the screen. So obstacles that would do push, if you remember, our push is going to be the displace. So you would say ship 1 displace player and ship 2 displace player. See how he pushes me off the screen now. Okay, that's really it. Now, things we could do to make this game better, add a score to it. We could add some background so it's not just a blue background. There's a lot of things that we could do with it, but we're going to leave it be because the movement was really what we were focusing on learning for this game.